Oh, faded out.
Lost it.
We
All
lost
right,
it.
everybody come in.
His laugh.
Back
We're
to
laughing.
call,
We lost
baby.
our theme music
All right,
disappeared.
welcome to the Collector's Catacomb tonight, Star Wars edition.
Woohoo!
We're a group of collectors. We get together every week. We talk about collections, collecting, collectors, the history behind it all, and just have an overall good time. So, my name is Erik Castle. I collect mainly militaria. I also run the Allied Militaria Forum and the sourcingforum.com. So make sure you go check those out. I got an awesome panel with me tonight, and they're going to talk about Star Wars. Since I've been extremely busy this week, I'm going to sit here and be silent tonight and let them geek out about Star Wars. So without further ado, let me introduce the rest of the panel here. We'll get started with Mr. Cooltoads, if he'll come back around.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I thought I hit that button, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Come on, I hit it. See, I hit it again. No, it's not. There it goes. Hey, finally. What's up? I am Jabba the Toad today.
But I need them for tonight.
At least for an hour and a half.
Take this one. You can take this
one. But yeah, what do I have? I have a show on Friday nights, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. And it's called the Toadcast. I just last night started my own Facebook group. That's facebook.com/group/Toadcast. So, yeah.
Awesome, Sean. Well, I'll make sure to add that to the comments.
Cool, thanks.
All right. Then we got Erik Cashlin with us tonight. Or I should say Darth Cashlin. I'll get this right.
Don't make me force choke you. So my name is Erik Cashlin. I'm a military collector, but I also dabble in some Star Wars here and there. I have a Facebook page, Militaria Collectors of Delaware Valley, and I'm also a moderator on Allied Militaria Forum. That's pretty much me.
Awesome, Erik. Glad to have you with us tonight. And then we got Drew. Where you at, Drew?
Drew's cam's off. Rookie Drew. Oh.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, we didn't know that. What's your name?
The California Picker. My YouTube channel is called California Pickin', and I specialize in antique, fine art, and antiquities. So if you have anything collectible, shoot it my way.
You should have made your name Drew Baca.
Drew Baca.
Yeah. Not Drew Solo, Drew Baca. Oh, man, Drew. All right. Here we got Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hey, everybody.
Get him introduced, and then, Dan, you can go right ahead and lean into your stuff for tonight.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm probably more fired up about this than anybody here because I just spent 4 days in a convention with 100,000 other Star Wars fans and saw everything you can imagine and got to shop for everything you can imagine and was completely inundated for 4 days with Star Wars and stuff. So I'm still pumped up over it and really excited about doing this show. I'm glad Erik kind of let me do this have this theme for the show because I was still kind of riding on that cloud. But so anyhow, I'm Dan at More Old Stuff. I do picking stuff and reselling and all that, but this show's about collecting, and I'm really excited about showing everybody and seeing what everybody has when we do these collectibles kind of show and tells here. So this is great. So did you want me to go ahead and start?
Yeah,
Okay.
Go right on into it, Dan.
I could go for a long time, but so I'm just gonna go real slow. You kick me off when you're ready. We'll take turns, and I'll come back to me if you want to later. But so, for me, the cool part about all of this stuff is that it was July of 1977 when the movie came out, and about 3 weeks after the movie came out, I was living in New Mexico at the time, and I was a freshman in college, just finishing my freshman year of college. So it was summertime. I was on a break. There was another friend of mine. We decided we were going to go to California for this for who knows how long. We didn't have any money. We had enough gas to get there, so we drove in a 1968 Impala, and we drove to California and stayed with his mother who lived in L.A. And I was looking at the newspaper one day, and there was this full-page ad in the L.A. Times about this movie called Star Wars. And the pictures in this ad was so cool looking to me, and I thought, you know what? Because I liked science fiction even back then, and I was like, this is really cool. I says, we got to go check this out. So it was playing. It had just opened. It was only 2 weeks out, and it was playing at the Grumman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. And so we go down there, and to me, I was being the tourist in California. That was my first time in California. I got in line. We were in a 2-hour line that wrapped completely around the theater, and we waited for 2 hours and went in. I sat in the 4th row center and watched at the it's now Mann's Chinese Theater, I think. It was Grumman's Chinese Theater back then, and got to watch the whole movie of Star Wars. And I was just totally in awe. And I've probably seen it a million times since then. And luckily, all of this stuff. Now, the only thing I do regret is I didn't go out and buy all the comic books and buy all the toys and buy all the stuff, because now I'm going, oh my gosh, because I just came back from a convention where I saw a Boba Fett doll that last sold for $30,000 because it's a pre what do they call it, a
Prototype. Yeah.
of what they were going to make, but they stopped making it because Kenner at the time, well, another company, Mattel at the time, had a Battlestar Galactica toy that shot missiles. Well, this Boba Fett doll had a little gun that shot missiles. They hadn't released it yet, but the Battlestar Galactica toy had been released, and a little boy died because he choked on the bullet from one of the guns, right? So Kenner decided, you know what, I don't think we're going to release this toy, or we're going to change it, so we're not going to use this one. So they don't know how many exactly were made. It's kind of rough. There's about 6 or 8 known to exist, and I got to see one. I don't know if you watched the show Toy Hunters or not, but the guy who works with the Toy Hunter guy, there was one of the episodes where he sold this guy one of those Boba Fetts for $15,000. That Boba Fett was in the guy's booth there, so I got to see that. It wasn't for sale, but I went to a session on collectibles, and three collectors told a lot of their stories about how they picked up collectibles and all that, which was very interesting. I talked to you an hour about that. But one of the things that the guy talked about, the Boba Fett, and the last one they said sold for about $30,000, and they all came from one. Most of them came from one man who was an engineer for Kenner back in the day. He lived in Kentucky, and he had about 6 of them. And somehow the word got around that this guy had them, and these collectors went and picked a bunch of them up, picked the rest of them up from him. So I don't know what they paid for them. They never said what they paid for them, but that's probably the highest priced one that around. So anyhow, that's what made me wish that. And then I'm looking at action figures from the first run of action figures that came on the cards in the plastic cases, and they're selling for $400, $500. They're like mint condition. They still have the original Toys R Us price tag on them for $1.99, which is like I'm looking at these things going, oh my gosh! And I was talking to these vendors going, can you imagine if these things? You could go for $1.99, buy all these up, and they're worth $400 a piece now. Some of the original ones are even more. There's $1,200 ones. I mean, it's just amazing, some of the stuff. So I didn't buy any of that kind of stuff. I didn't spend that kind of money over there. I wish I could have, but it didn't work. So anyhow, I have some stuff that I've just kind of gathered up, but I have some stuff I've just picked. My big thing was always comic books, and so I kind of started my collecting with comic books, and then because of my love for Star Wars, I got into the whole comic books collecting, Star Wars comic book. And Marvel created, printed, and produced the first comic book for Star Wars. It actually came out about 2 months. The first couple of issues came out 2 months before the movie was even shown at the theaters. So it was kind of a teaser to the movie, and to try to get people's interest in it. So that was in around so probably May or June or May or something like that of '77 when it first came out. So I started collecting the comic books, Marvel, Star Wars comic books, and I was piecing together. There's actually the whole series. There's 107 in the series. And I started piecing them out, going to comic book stores, buying them here and there. The number ones were always too expensive for me. There's several number ones, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a second. But I lucked out in about 2004, I was on eBay, and a guy had an entire set. He had 1 through 107. I paid $50 for them. So I still have those, and so I ended up though over the years collecting a few other ones. So I just want to show you real quick. Well, actually, I've got them all here, and they're all in pretty good shape. I haven't gone through them lately until I was going to do this show, and I'm kind of looking at them, going, these are in really good condition. But I've got from here. This is number 2. This first box is all the first half of them, or the first about 50 of them, and then I got another 50 in another box down here. So that's my.
You actually read any of them, Dan?
Yeah, I actually have. I've started going through them. What would have been interesting, though, if you'd have started reading them before the movie came out, by the 3rd or 4th issue, which is when the movie came out, you'd have kind of had a good gist of what the movie was going to be about. So I don't know, because it does follow the movie pretty close. So anyhow, these are the number 1s. So right now, these are really hot. The values of these things, and I know we don't talk values, but these things go up and down all the time. And of course, right now, the new movie coming out, the Force Awakens is the new thing coming out. So Star Wars is now in everybody's collectible minds, right? So they think they're going to buy all this stuff and make tons of money on it. So, but I do have I have 3 here, and they're a little different, and it's kind of a weird story. So the number 1s came out as a first printing. There was a second printing also, but there were multiple second printings. So there's a few things that are different about the cover. So when you see a Star Wars number 1, you may not have like the most valuable Star Wars number 1 or the real Star Wars number 1. So an example would be these two, this one and this one. Okay, they look pretty close. There is one tiny thing that you probably can't actually see on the camera. But if you'll look right here, see that little black bar? That says reprint. Right there says reprint. So about I think it's about 4 or 5 months into or after the first issue, they after the movie was released, they sold out of Star Wars everything. I mean, the first editions just disappeared. Everybody was buying them up. So they did a reprint. So they look the same. Do this real quick. See if I can show you this. See, let's learn a little bit about this. So you see, this one's plain. This is a real first print Star Wars number 1. This is a reprint. Now there's another reprint that occurred, and you notice the price. These are 30 cents, and about the first, I think about the first 5 or 6 issues, they were 30 cents, and then the price went up to 35 cents. So when they did the reprints for the next run, they were 35 cents. So if you see a number 1 that's 35 cents, that's a second printing. That's not a first printing of the book. Now, they're still collectible, and I'm trying to find one because I want to try to get one of all the different variations of the number 1s. But another one is there's a diamond shape right here. There's a diamond right here with the price inside the diamond, and it'll say 30 cents or it'll say 35 cents. That's a second printing also. That's not a first edition. But I'm fortunate that I have 2, and I have the entire set 1 through 107, and there's first appearances of Boba Fett is a highly collectible one. The very last issue, 107, is a highly collectible one, for at least right now. So it's kind of cool. I have these. I look through them every now and then. I'm actually going to send these off and get these graded, CGC graded, so I can get them slabbed in a plastic container and maybe hang on to them. So that it picks the value up a little bit on those things. So then the other side of it is now.
Now the set that you got, and what printing is the number 1 in that set? Was that a first print?
Yeah, both of these here, this one, both of these, the 2 that I have, these are original first printings.
Now, did those come with that set, or that's an addition?
One came with a set, and one as I picked up. I picked up in 1993, and I paid $13.50 for it.
Wow, nice.
This is probably a $100 book right now, right? But the grading is the issue. It's like I look at it and I go, wow, this is a really, really good condition. But official grader will look at it and go, oh, there's yellowing. The pages are yellow. Okay, that downgrades it. The little crease here in the corner, that now if the seams have any kind of white showing, or the staples are rusty, or there's any, I mean, they scrutinize them really highly. So hopefully I have one here, which is actually this one, that is a better condition, the one that was in the set. So the set that I bought looked like none of them had ever been opened or read. There's no creases down the edges of it. So I think whoever had that set bought them all and put them in bags, and that was it. Put them away. So
it'd be kind of fun to have the whole set graded. I don't know what kind of.
There's still a lot of
fun, but I know a lot of those, like for sports cars, they cut you a massive deal for bulk.
Yeah. Well, it's about $18 a book to get it graded, plus the shipping, plus they think there's a chair. I'm a member of the CGC, so I that's how you start sending stuff in. So I think I'm going to go through and I'm picking out the key issues. I have another one. There's a key issue that I actually picked. I have two of these. I picked this one up this weekend. Paid $30 for this. This is the first appearance of Boba Fett. And Boba Fett right now is the hottest character out of all of them. Anything that's got Boba Fett on them, the price of stuff has just gone crazy, and people are just somehow, he's like the star for some reason. He's like the big star. So yeah, this was the first appearance, and it's in pretty good shape. I probably paid about what it's worth. I don't think I got any special deal on it. It's in really good shape. I'm going to have that sent off and get it slabbed also. I have some other ones that I picked up.
Hey Dan, I got a question.
Sure, I can't hear you.
What movie was Boba Fett in?
Well, the one he was probably more famous for was in Empire Strikes Back, because remember he's the bounty hunter, and he's the one that captured Han Solo and put him in carbonite, and they took him to Jabba, and Jabba put him in carbonite, right? So he's like, remember in the slab, Actually, I have a ice tray.
Slapped him.
Yeah, I have an ice tray collectible. Remember that?
Do you have a picture of Boba Fett?
Yeah, I had this one here. He's the one in the middle on this comic book.
Ooh.
He has a rocket pack on his back, and he flew around and if you watch the whole series of movies right now, there's this. He's significant in the Clone Wars because his genes were used to clone all the stormtroopers in the next series. So all the stormtroopers looked like Boba Fett, or Boba Fett's son. Yeah, Boba Fett's son, I think is what it is. So they use his genes to clone him, so that he kind of has a significance in the whole thing, a little bit one.
He looks a little Jar Jar Binks, doesn't he?
No, I don't know. He has a helmet on, so it's hard to tell. He's actually human. He just wears a helmet. So anyhow, Dark Horse took over the Star Wars comic book series, and they have a whole bunch of different ones for a while. But now that Marvel is owned by Disney, and Marvel owns Lucasfilm, right? Lucas rights to all the Star Wars movies is owned by Disney right now. So Disney has all control over all this stuff, and they've got control over all of it. They've then taken over and they've negotiated. Now they've got Marvel making comic books again, Star Wars comic books again. So the number one Star Wars came out in December of this year. And there were probably 75 or more variants of the number one. They had every artist and their mother making covers. This is the same book, by the way. This is the same story. This is the number one. They had like everybody making all the artists were doing different covers, different special editions. This is all number ones. These are number ones for the new series. This is a different one. And I was fortunate to get this. I got the autograph this weekend of Alex Ross, he's a famous comic book artist and illustrator. He did this one. His autograph is down here with a certificate of authenticity. So I got a couple books from him. I got this one, and then there's a new series they're also doing called Darth Vader. So it started. They're at like I think Star Wars is at number 4 this week. Issue number 4 comes out this week, I think, and then the Darth Vader one I think is at about 3 or 4. And there's another one. It's Princess Leia. She has her own comic book too. So Marvel's putting out this series and this is number one. There's like about 25 different variants for all these covers. I mean, the first issues that came out, there's just variants galore. You could spend $500 on all the different variants. Some of them are like $80 covers. The book is like $80 to get it, because they didn't make very many of them. So there's all these different variants. So you can kind of go broke just doing doing all that stuff. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing as I go through all this. But so that's the comic book side.
Hey Dan, I just want to. I know we don't talk about prices, but just to give you an idea, so Star Wars #1, if you got it graded, you said before it's a $100 comic. If you get it graded, that increases it by 10 to 15 times.
Yeah.
They're selling for $1,000 to $1,500. So that just goes to show you how the value of just having it graded and putting a grade on it, how much it can increase the value of a comic by doing that.
I saw a graded 9.8,
9.8, yeah,
which is like the highest graded, which you can almost get. It's hard to get anything higher than that for like $2,000, selling for $2,000 for. I don't know what these are. That's why I'm like, I'm willing to pay the $18 per copy to send it in. Let's see. Only problem is if they value it over $1,000 when they grade it, they charge me more for the grading. They charge me like $40 for the grading.
It can be worth it though. It can be worth it.
Yeah.
And then the great thing is, if you ever go to sell them, you have that vote of confidence from the CGC.
Yeah, it's guaranteed. Anyone believes that's the authority on the value and the quality of that comic book. Yeah. So I haven't done very many. I own some CGC. Matter of fact, I think I have one here that I can show you just to show what that looks like when we say it's slabbed. I actually have this as a. This is not CGC. This is another company called CBC. Yeah, it's another one. But this is what it looks like. This is Walking Dead number 127. It was a significant change in the story plot. So this becomes kind of valuable. This is a 9.8. It was brand new when it was done. I didn't have this done. I bought this way, and I got a pretty good deal on it. So I'm just going to hang on to it. See, it's in a plastic case. It has the grading on here. It has bring it back here.
Like a description.
It has a description. It's actually numbered. It's like a certificate number, and they put it in a database. And they keep track of, and the CGC does the same thing, they keep track of all of these comic books that get graded, so they have this historical library of what books are out there and what the quality and who owns them and that kind of stuff. So if they need to compare with what they already have out there, they can use this database to make comparisons of what the values are on certain things. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that once you send this in, you're becoming part of this database that's helping grade other books everywhere else in the world. So.
And another great thing, CGC, a lot of times they'll be at comic book shows, and you can get us, if you're getting a comic book signed, you can take it right over to CGC, or they'll witness you getting it signed. Yeah. And they have it right on site. Yeah.
Right, they have the signature series, it's called. So it basically, when any kind of autograph, right? If it's hard to tell. Like I could write somebody's name on one of these and sell it with their autograph and things. So you want to have that authority with a certification. Well, what they do and the way they make it better than just a certificate of authenticity, they'll actually have a person go with you. I was at their booth last year at Comic-Con, and because that's when I first signed up, and I was talking to him. I goes, hey, if I wanted, how does this work, And the guy says, oh, where you want to go? I got Kevin standing right here. He'll walk with you, get in line with you, and wait in line, and you take your books, and he'll witness you signing them, and then you'll come back here, give them all to us. We'll go have them certified, and we'll be done with it. I said, well, that's cool. So, so it's a neat process, and it's really cool how they can do that. So. But so that's the comic book side of things. But one of the things I got to this weekend, which I thought was really unique. So I went to there was a guy selling. He was a collector. He was a big had a huge collection of Star Wars stuff for many years, and the reason why is he purchased the collection of Gary Kurtz. Gary Kurtz is the producer of Star Wars. He was the producer of the first and second, I think the third one too, I'm not sure. But he was a producer, and he had his own collection of Star Wars stuff. And this guy bought his collection, or at least a huge portion of his collection, and now he's getting rid of it. So they have a website up with a lot of the stuff that they were selling there during the celebration. But anyhow, so I was at his booth, and I saw this. Actually, this is Empire Strikes Back. They had a lot of Empire Strikes Back, because I think a lot of the Star Wars stuff had already been sold, or over the years is sold, and there wasn't much. So Empire Strikes Back now is becoming a little more popular because it's like the second movie. There's still a lot of stuff out there on it. So this is shrink wrap, brand new soundtrack. A double. It's actually a double album, and I think there's a picture booklet inside of here, but I've not opened it up, so I don't know, and I'm not going to open it up. I actually bought 3 of these. So they are clipped. I don't know if you're familiar with what this means when they're clipped, but what happens is record companies, this is actually dated 1980, by the way. Record companies would sell to distributors, and they would put them in their store shelves, and they would sell. And when they wouldn't sell, they'd just pick them all up, and they would like third-party wholesale them to other buyers. Well, when they did that, the store would clip the corners, or they'd poke a hole in the corner. So you might find brand new records that are shrink wrapped with a hole in them or a clipped corner. And that was so that when the wholesaler sold the album, which they were going to sell it for a lot less, that buyer could not come back to the retail store and say, "Oh, I'd like a refund on my record that I bought from you," and then they get 2 or 3 times the money back. So it wouldn't be ripping off the store. So that was how they could identify that, yeah, we used to own this, and we sold it wholesale, and we're not going to give you a refund on this because we got this clipped on here. So I don't think it causes a whole lot of issues with collectibles, although I know most people don't like this on here, but with collectible albums. But it does have a significance, and it's actually part of the whole story and history of the record album sales and how that all went. So anyhow, that's what that is. So it's kind of cool. Look at that one. One of the things I got, it was super weird and it was unique, and I kind of looked for this stuff. This lady had a box of just all kinds of stuff, and I bought these old T-shirts. This is about a 1979 T-shirt. It's not screen printed. It's like puffy paint or something. It's kind of weird. It's really like this thick stuff on it or whatever. So it feels comfortable, and I got like 3 or 4 different kinds of really vintage Star Wars shirts that they had there that I'm actually going to keep those because I was walking around with 100,000 people trying to pick which T-shirts that I didn't have that other people had, which is really hard, especially if you buy your shirts at Target and Walmart, and that everybody else in the world has that same shirt. So I have shirts that I bought for special places just so that I can be sure I'm the only one that's wearing this shirt. No one's going to match my shirt. So that's what I'll wear these for when I go anywhere again. This is it's like a raincoat. It's a vinyl. It didn't have to be a raincoat. I guess it could be part of a costume, a Darth Vader hood. Hood.
No, that's when you wait in line in the rain. That's what that's for.
You think so? Hey, that's true. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
You're at the movie, and they give you these to wait in line. So here's what's on the front, though.
I don't think they give you anything. I think they sell that to you.
It may have been something they sold at the movie theater. I don't know. I can't find one like it. I've been trying to do some research. I'm not even sure what to call the thing. But it's dated 1977, 20th Century Fox Films, all registered rights. It's got their logo on the front of it.
It's a rain poncho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did some searching as rain poncho, but I'll try it again.
Yeah. I've never seen one, but I think it's cool. That would be my guess. You remember how long those lines used to be? I don't know if they still are, but in the 70s, they'd go around the block 2 times.
Yeah. Well, when I went to see this movie, it was around the block quite a bit. It was a long line. But so anyhow, this is kind of a weird, odd thing that I just thought was kind of cool. So grab that. Probably one of my favorite things I got because I like airplane stuff, model airplane stuff. I like Star Wars, so I got kind of this combination. I found this guy who was selling this. It's a Star Wars land speeder, but it's made by Cox, gas powered. So This is a gas motor with a propeller. It's made in 1993. It has a little 2-channel remote control battery operated, remote control radio in it. It's brand new inside. This has never been run. It has the little fuel bottle, which actually leaks a little bit, and I need to put it in a plastic bag. But see inside of here, this is like brand new. It's got the manual, got everything tied down.
Wow.
Got the battery pack in here. When I saw that up there, I said, I can't. What's that?
Let's break that out. Let's break that out. Let's
Let's
fire that baby out.
Believe me, I've been tempted. I have fuel. This is probably not good, but I have RC fuel. I said, let's take it out the street and play with it. See what it does, man.
Take it for a ride.
Yeah,
So
there's
let
the
me.
motor.
So it's gasoline.
It's called.
It's like
uses kind of a glycerin mix. It's a the alcohol glycerin mix. They call it nitro fuel. I don't know why it has no nitro in it, but it's like a. Let me show you the bottle here.
That sounds cool.
They make them in. They still make it. I mean, they use this in all model airplanes. What it is, it's basically a high octane alcohol, and the glycerin oil is oily to lubricate the motor. So you don't have to like put oil or oil the motor. It's all in the fuel. It's a sticky kind of like I got this.
And what's the recommended age for the kids?
What, the fuel?
Actually, the box says 10 years.
The toy.
10 years? 10 years is what 10-year-olds, yeah.
Wow.
I used to play with these all the time, but I used to have airplanes, the control line, they were wired on it was like a string, and you control the up and down. They made cars like this.
Dan, I remember the cars and the airplanes, and that propeller, if you put your finger in there, man, you lose your finger.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. It hurts. Believe me, I've had that happen.
Is there any improvement on this one? Because I don't think they make those for kids anymore.
It's 10-year-old. Here's the propeller. I can't take it out because it's pretty.
You could imagine giving a 10-year-old flammable stuff that he could light on fire or whatever.
Well, it's actually not flammable. You can't light it with a match. It's such a oil concentrate that you can't light it with a match. It would be really hard to catch it on fire. But it's enough that There's a little glow plug. It's a little wire, and the little wire you put a battery on it, which gets it to begin to heat up. You flip that's how you start it. Use your finger to flip the propeller to start it, right? So you get it going. Once it gets going, you remove the battery, and the glow plug stays hot from the engine running, and then that's how it flies, and it just keeps going from that point on. But anyhow, this is really cool.
Is it still that pink color, Dan? Like that pink? Remember, it was like that pink color. The gas, yeah. Pink or orange.
No, I've never opened it.
I don't think that would be.
It's got a little. Yeah, it had
more of a dark color.
It had a tint to it. I remember it.
Yeah, it smells just like it, man. Let me see. Hold on. I mean, it's probably still good. It's got that alcohol. No, it's clear. But it smells. I love that smell. I can smell this.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah,
it reminds me of my RC flying days.
Yeah, it reminds you of your childhood when you smell that.
I still have gallons because I have big airplanes too. I flew as an adult. I flew RC planes for a long time. I have a garage full of them. So one of these days when I get back out and start doing it again, that's just kind of a mixture of my RC kind of hobby as well as my Star Wars. When I saw this, I went, oh my gosh, I gotta have this. And let me tell you this, when I bought it, he had a set price on it, and I used the Force, and I got it at a way less than what he was asking. So I'll tell you, it works. It does work.
That is not the price you want me to pay for this.
Price I want to pay.
Can you put a GoPro on one of those remote controlled airplanes and take us for a ride sometime?
That would be cool. Yeah.
I actually did it a long time ago. I had a system. It was a wireless remote camera. So I had a little laptop set up with the transmitter receiver, and I put a camera in my airplane and flew the airplane around, did loops and all this stuff. And it was kind of fun. It was kind of choppy because the signal wasn't all good. If I didn't stay really close to where my receiver was, it would go out and it would lose the video signal, and I'd come back and it would pick it up again. It was kind of choppy and lines, and the vibration of the airplane. The video was like moving all over because the vibration is so intense. You don't realize, how much it really is until you see that thing vibrating around in there. But
that's why you need a quadcopter now.
I got this poster. This is not original. This poster as an original is about $3,000. If you wanted to pick one of these up, this is a 1993 reproduction of it. I didn't have this one, and I liked it, so I'm gonna hang this on my wall somewhere. And well, I've gone for quite a while here. I picked up some other things that are kind of just small things. I like some of the toys and stuff, and I started getting some of this Dark series. And a lot of it is just they're so detailed. There's so much more detail. I haven't taken this out of the box yet. I really don't want to, or I would. I'd show you guys, but the detail on this thing is really cool. I just got this, and some other loose figures, and just little books and things I paid. Some of the people didn't know what they had, I don't think, and they were just putting boxes of loose items out, and I was digging through boxes, almost kind of like going to a swap meet in some of the places. There would be these one places that would just have this super expensive stuff, and then they would go down to this, really cheap stuff, and I'm like, man, how can you do this? Because these guys are going to sell this stuff out before the whole show is over, which is probably what they wanted. But I was getting little things, notebook covers and anything that had Star Wars or cool pictures on them, magazines, books, and got some programs from movie theaters that. So this is for Empire Strikes Back, and this is for that's for the episode 1. This is another one for the episode 1 that I got. Got this one.
Okay, so how much did you spend in total, Dan?
Probably not as much as I wish I would have, because I'm still kicking myself for not picking up some things that I saw, or even though that it, because the problem is I'm a picker, right? That's the problem. Okay, yeah. When you're a collector and you're a picker, you gotta just not be cheap, right? you can't go. Yeah, this is a collectible item. You gotta pay full price for it if you want it for your collection. And in my mind, I'm going, maybe I could find that less because, I go to garage sales and I go to thrift stores and I'll probably find that somewhere cheaper and blah 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 blah. So it's really hard to make the decision where you're to pay for something when you see it right there in front of you. And that was a good thing. You've got all this stuff in front of you where you can inspect it. You can see like this. I would not have probably bought this online because, unless there were some really good pictures, because I could see in it. I could, make sure it was really new and nothing had been done. I could, check the box all over. So that kind of, I did check this value on eBay, and I did pick it up for a lot less than what they're selling them for, and which was because when I made the guy the offer, he was like, "Oh yeah, I need to get out of here. I don't want to take it home with me or whatever." So it's one of those kind of things. But it's not like I didn't get like some super great deal on it. But I'm going to keep this. This is not for resale, and so when you do that, as a picker, you're in your mind, you got to think, well, this is for me. I'm going to pay whatever I need to pay to get this unique, special thing. So, but at the convention itself, or at the celebration, there was some cool things there. There was I have a couple of videos. If you go to Dan at Moral Stuff on YouTube, I have a couple of videos. My princess, my slave Leia gathering is one of them. I actually had a goal to get as many pictures with slave Leia as I could, and my daughter was with me as a photographer. So I got a whole bunch. I got a few of them. I put some of them up on actually, if you go to the Collectors Catacomb Facebook, I put some of them there. Then I took some video up at that, but I'm working on finishing a video of just kind of a preview of everything I saw. I walked around with my video camera all 4 days. I got hours and hours of footage that I'm trying to edit down into something that's not going to be too long, and just kind of show you the stuff that they were selling. Some of the people, they were doing autographs. You had to pay for the autographs. Mark Hamill was there all 4 days. Mark Hamill had an autograph session, and you would buy his autograph for $125, and you would then buy a photograph for $30. You weren't allowed to use your own stuff. You had to buy their picture, and and pay him to do it. So he bought tickets for these guys, and I'll tell you what, he was killing it because there were thousands and thousands of people buying tickets to get Mark Hamill's autograph on them. Carrie Fisher was there. I actually went to the session that they do like these interviews, and every night they did these sessions where they would sit in an auditorium and they'd come on stage and they'd have a host and you would talk to them. And I saw Carrie. You can see all these actually on YouTube. All these are now on the StarWars.com, or you go to YouTube and just look at Star Wars. I think that's the name of their YouTube channel. They have all this stuff now. I think is now up there. But yeah, I saw Carrie Fisher, and she was doing autographs for like $60. And who else is it? Oh, the guy who plays Anthony Daniels, who plays 3CPO, was there. The guy Kenny Baker, who was he was the guy inside of R2D2 most of the time. They did have the builders, the droid builders room. They had a big room where this club of all the droid builders they brought all their stuff, and there was hundreds. And I actually have a video up there if you want to see that. That's pretty cool. It's got R2D2 droids and all the droids that these guys have been making over the years. It takes years to make one of these things. They make them out of wood. Sometimes they make them out of aluminum. They do machine work and fiberglass work and woodwork, and they do all these different methods, all the electronics to do all the things that R2D2 does. Some do a few things, some do a lot. It's really cool, and I have a video up that's a walkthrough of that room and all the different droids that they have in there, and the new droid that's coming out in the next Star Wars Awakening, the Force Awakening movie is called, I think, BB2 or BB8 or something like that. Like two balls that sit on each other, and the one that they used in the movie actually came out on the stage during the opening ceremony and rolled around. So if you see that video, you got to watch it. It's really interesting how that thing works. I'm just kind of curious how it works, how that top piece sits on top of there without falling off or falling over. But so there's that kind of stuff. And then I have a toy release. I went to a lot of the collectors sessions where all the guys talked about new toys coming out, new collectibles coming out, talked about how to collect and all that kind of stuff. And I went to a lot of those sessions, which is really interesting. But there's a Yoda doll that's coming out. It fights. It's a fighting Yoda, which is so cool. There's a really quick video of it. It was dark in the room, and I was in the very back, so I was trying to hold the camera still. And I got some clips of this thing when they were demoing this Yoda, and it's really neat. When the thing comes out, it's going to be cool. So if you check my YouTube channel and see some of that. Subscribe to it if you haven't, and when I get my other Star Wars stuff up there, you'll get notified. You can whatever, check that out. So,
awesome, Dan. Yeah, I definitely recommend anybody check out Dan's channel. He's always posting a bunch of crazy stuff.
I was trying to see if there's any questions or anything. So
yeah, I haven't really seen many questions. Definitely some fans. I know Holland Hobbies is out there, and he's a big fan. Texas Gal Treasures. I don't know. It goes on and on. Everybody's geeking out in the chat.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, man, I think Darth Caishlin had something to share with us tonight.
Okay, cool.
What you got for us, Darth?
All right. So I collect a little differently. I was 3 years old when Empire Strikes Back came out, and I was born. Sorry, I'm having connection issues. I was born the year that Empire Strikes Back came out, and I was 3 years old when Return of the Jedi. So I was a little young to be able to go to the theaters, but Star Wars was definitely a major part of my early childhood. And unfortunately, I was one of those kids that amassed quite a big collection of them, and then just to have them all thrown away by my mom. So what I've done, I have a 4 going on 5-year-old son. I'm trying to live vicariously through him. So, whenever I'm out and about at antique shops or flea markets, whatever, if I see a Star Wars figure or, something along those lines, I always make a point to pick it up. And so I'm just going to share a photo here. Here's my so here's my son here posing with a lot of the items that I picked up for him, and you know, it's kind of a combination of vintage and newer. You know, in the 90s, they re-released a lot of the action figures. Power of the Force is what the toy line was called, and you know, a lot of them you can find at flea markets, usually going for about, you know, $3 to $4 per figure, in the original box too. Unfortunately, they just don't have much collector value, so a lot of the time, you know, I know I was buying them when they first came out, but eventually I wound up just opening them up and giving them to my kid because they didn't really have much collector value. So most of the ones I collect aren't carded, which is, you know, still in the original packaging or anything like that. But I'm just going to share a couple pieces. You know, some of these are from the original Star Wars line from 1977. So we have, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi over here with, you know, his lightsaber, which, you know, I don't want to play with it too much, but it, you know, kind of extends in and out. We have Chewie over here. And we have a little Jawa. They're actually pretty well made. I mean, you know, they even have, you know, a little fabric and everything like that. So it's pretty cool. And a lot of times, you know, like I said, I pick these up at flea markets. So they're usually going for, you know, anywhere from $1 up to $10 max, probably, for figures, depending on how complete the figure is, even out of the box. Here we have Luke Skywalker. This would be from Return of the Jedi, or even actually, yeah, Return of the Jedi. So he's lost his arm or his hand at the end of Empire Strikes Back. We have Yoda here, little Yoda. This is from Return of the Jedi. So this was Jabba's, you know, I guess like translator or right-hand man. Here's Boba Fett. This is the one that does not have the rocket that fires. The rocket is fixed. Fortunately, you know, I wasn't lucky enough to find one that a $30,000 Boba Fett. And so I wanted to show kind of like just a comparison too. So here's R2-D2, and this would be from, you know, Empire or Star Wars 1977, the first one, and then this is the re-release. And this goes to show you how much they've, you know, come along with how they design the toys. You can see the original just kind of has, you know, a sticker going around, whereas the newer ones, you know, have, you know, it actually, you know, built into the figure, and you know, it has like full articulation and everything like that. So, you know, pretty cool. Here's another little comparison. We have, you know, new C-3PO and original C-3PO. You know, not really much of a change though in the, you know, the design. You know, still kind of along the same lines. These are Sand People. So the old one has kind of like a vinyl cape almost, whereas the newer ones have an actual fabric, you know, cape that they wear around, or cloak, I guess. And so there's a lot more. You got, you know, your Princess Leia, old and new. You can see they kind of added some, you know, this would be from Return of the Jedi, and you know, they added some real hair here, whereas the old one just has the, you know, the bagel or donut earmuffs. Same, you know,
with talking about that just for a second, because it's funny. Carrie Fisher was talking about that. She said that out of all the cast members on the first movie, she'd have to go in like 2 hours early for them to do her hair, because it took so long to do her. That was her real hair in the first movie. So she said after the movie was over, and you know, every morning she had to get up really early to do this on. She got really upset. Sometimes she'd fall asleep in the chair while they were doing it.
Oh, wow!
And she was on Saturday Night Live. They invited her. Remember, she hosted it or something. And one time, right after the movie was out, and when they brought her in, she says, "Well, do I have to come in early?" Because there was a skit where she was going to have to be Princess Leia. And they said, "Oh no!" So they brought her in, and they put this wig on her that was perfect. It like didn't. It looked actually looked better, she said, than the other. She goes, and she was so mad. She goes, "Why couldn't they have done this when I was making the movie? I wouldn't have had to go in there for 2 hours early." You know?
Exactly. I see a question up here. Swamp Picker asked, would it be good to buy the new Star Wars toys? Now, Dan, I don't have one, but you had in the background one of the newer ones, which is the Black Series, and
Yeah.
these are really, really well done.
Yeah.
I see them. They go for anywhere from $15 all the way up to like $50-$60 per figure. But these are really well done, figures, and they're kind of an exclusive almost. So if you're gonna pick one up, these would probably be the ones to pick up, and to complete a set.
This is a Hasbro. Also, Hasbro makes this. So.
Yeah. So these are really well done. I would buy them just for the collectability and then the appearance. They just look really well done.
Just since this Black Series came out, for example, the Boba Fett and that, you can still buy them for about $40. But when they first came out, they came out at like Target and Walmart. They were $15.
You can still find them at Target and Toys R Us though, but they're hard to find, certain ones. So.
Yeah, the favorite characters are hard to find, but the other came out at $15. But I'm over there looking, and now because they're hard to get, they're like $40 for these. Things. So I'm talking about prices, but I mean, if you were to collect them, keep yourself, if you don't get them when they first come out at those retail prices, that if it's a popular character, it's gonna skyrocket. And you're not, it's gonna cost you more if you're gonna add it to your collection.
Awesome.
Uh-oh.
I apologize if I'm being a little bit quiet. Kind of tired. I have been non-stop since about 5 o'clock this morning. So.
No worries.
Yeah.
So this, here we have our Han Solo old, Han Solo new, and it's kind of funky. The head doesn't even look like Harrison Ford, whereas the newer one, they kind of, definitely try to capture his likeness, and they definitely beefed him up a little bit. He looks Harrison Ford on steroids here, whereas the old one is, just kind of lanky, random dude. Here's a newer Boba Fett. You can see they kind of added, his cape on, full articulation, pretty cool. And we have our Darth Vader. Again, they definitely beefed him up some, and actually I think they made him a little too small in the original figure.
Yeah.
And again, he adds a cloak, whereas the newer one,
skinny.
Yeah. And then this was a topper on my birthday cake. I just thought I'd share this.
Awesome.
And I'm not talking about when I was a kid. This was my last birthday. So.
There you go.
But another cool thing, which is out now, is Lego. And Lego has really produced some really cool looking Star Wars figures. And actually, I just broke a piece off, but that's okay. But here's this would be from the Clone Wars probably, and you have like a little all-terrain vehicle here, and you got your stormtrooper. So and it's got full moving, blaster there. So it's really cool, and they're fun to put together. They're not fun to put back together when your kid plays with them. And then you have your Rancor from Return of the Jedi, and this was a cool set because it comes with the actual cage set that he.
Oh, that's neat.
And then you have your Luke Skywalker on top, and then this was the Rancor Keeper. I forget what his name was. Maybe Dan can. Yeah. Yeah, it's
it's a long one. I know what it is.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. It's got the gate comes up, and then there's a little compartment over here. It's got a little chicken leg for Rancor to eat. So real fun. It's fun to put together, and then they display nicely. And then kind of some of the bigger stuff that I picked up. And again, I don't think I've paid more than $20 for some of these items, and they've been played with. Now, I'm fine with that because I let my kid play with them, and for me, they're just cool to look at because I can remember having them as a kid. But here's your full-size Rancor, and he's got, so, his arms move and everything, pretty cool. And this would be, obviously Return of the Jedi, and this would, one is from 1983. Then you have your, from the first Star Wars, New Hope. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in the prequels. So when I say first Star Wars, I mean, the ones from the 70s and 80s.
Episode 3.
So this is your X-Wing. You got Luke Skywalker flying, and then you have your R2 back here. And actually, these they actually used to make sounds, but unfortunately the mechanism doesn't work on this anymore. So it actually shoot, and this would light up in the front here.
All in Hobby's got the name. It's Malakili.
Yeah, so I knew it was something weird. I couldn't remember. But then you have this another comparison. So this is you didn't see this guy too much. This is from New Hope, which was the first one, and this is when they're actually trying to find R2 and C-3PO when they crash land in the desert. Yeah. It's a funny scene. If anybody sees Spaceballs, there's a scene where the guy, they show him with a pick trying to find the same characters, and he said, "We ain't found," and I won't say the word, but yeah, it always reminds me of that. So here's the old one, and then here's a new one where they kind of, again, on steroids, a little more robust and, compared to the old one. Then you have
and then when they re-released the first Star Wars Episode 4,
they
added them in Tatooine in the city. You could see those walking around. Those weren't in the original movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot of CG stuff in there.
I hope that Disney re-releases them without any of the edits that Lucas made.
Well, now they just released the digital versions.
Yeah.
So you can download them or you can stream them. I guess I'm not sure from where. I guess they're available on.
There are iTunes or or Google Play. Google Play, I think.
Google Play. I don't know if Amazon's doing it or not.
Hey Dan, did it cost you any money to take a picture with George Lucas?
Oh yeah, you saw that?
Yeah.
That really wasn't George. Actually, it was George. His name was George.
That wasn't George Lucas?
No, that guy was walking around, and he was just standing there, and people were going, "Oh my God, that's George! Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture?" And then my daughter takes my picture with him, and my daughter says, "Oh my gosh, Twitter is just, Instagram's going crazy because everyone's submitting these pictures that, oh look, I was with George Lucas, And the guy just laughed. He goes, "Oh, you're kidding me, really?" He goes, "Well, my name is George." That's what he said. He looks exactly like him.
Oh my God, he sure does. Did you get his autograph?
No, I didn't.
But you didn't think it was him. He wasn't.
No, I knew it wasn't him because he'd have been like, because I'll tell you what, I've seen videos of George Lucas in public. He's really kind of a private person, and this guy was just way too nice and in public, and open to people that I don't think George Lucas really would have been that way.
I thought something was squishy. I can't imagine George Lucas is walking around the convention and he's not mobbed.
100,000 people getting mobbed.
Yeah.
I swear, it looks so much like him. I thought, how could this be?
I think I put that picture on my Facebook page. What I'll do is I'll put it up on the Collector's Catacomb so you guys can see it.
Cool.
Awesome, Dan. Awesome. So I got for what you got. What you got for us tonight, Drew?
Well, I showed these last time. I think I'll just bring them out again because we're talking about Star Wars, and I wanted to clarify. I wanted to get clarification from Dan. What did you tell me that these were? These were reprints from some other license. They sold the licensing to a Canadian company, or what the hell is this thing?
Yeah, those are the big books. I think there's like 3 of them in a series. I think 3 or 4 that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a remake. It looks like Whitman. Yeah, it was printed by Whitman.
Yeah,
they probably sold that. I don't think I have a different. I have the annuals that Marvel put out after the series, but and I've seen those around.
It says a division of Cadence Corporation, and it's 1977. So this is the year. Yeah. This is the year that Star Wars came out. I don't know, but
I don't know. It'd be interesting to look into that. I've seen those for sale. So and
this one
again, it's like,
this one I looked up, and apparently it's anywhere between $3 and $20.
yeah, based on the condition of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the condition's not too good. I'm sorry, I'm getting some blur here. I think I set my camera on soft or soft
Yeah, you
porn.
have one of those add-ons. Software. Yeah, you have one of the add-on, the enhancement things.
Yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, that was pretty interesting. Then a couple other, staying with the comic book theme. This one is the most beat comic book you'll ever see. This is Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan, and it's 1957 or something. And the real cool thing on the back was this ad for the Dodgers. Roy Campanella, the famous catcher, is featured on the back there from his Wheaties ad. Roy Campanella, he was paralyzed, right? You guys know the story?
Nah.
No, that does
Didn't
sound
he?
familiar though.
Wasn't Roy Campanella the one that was hit with a baseball bat by Juan Marichal? I'm pretty sure.
Let's see if anybody.
Oh, clue. Not,
Yeah.
not a baseball fan, really. So
Okay. Anyways, really like a totally beat copy, and this is when I first started like buying, comic books or whatever. I didn't know a lot about it, and I just liked the cover because it was Tarzan. It's not worth a damn because it's so beat. Now this is an interesting copy. I'm going to show Erik, the two Eriks, this. Fighting Forces,
Nice.
1963, I think, on this. And you can see the 12 cents.
Yeah.
So whenever you can find stuff from the golden era or the silver era for 10 and 12 cents, as soon as it starts getting up into 25 cents, then that's the newer ones. But 5, 10, and 12 cents, that's what you want in your comic books. And have you guys ever seen a comic book for the Fighting Forces? I mean, I don't even know what this is, but
Yeah.
look at this. Look
Yeah.
at this great ad.
Oh yeah.
Look at this great
I always
ad.
wanted one of those, to buy one of those. That's 204. Can you imagine how big this set is with all those soldiers and all the
Yeah.
pieces and all the? I mean, for $1.98, you get 204 pieces of toys to play with.
Yeah. Were those made out of lead?
No, they were plastic.
Ah.
Yeah. And they weren't painted like the detail. They were like all blue, or they were all, they weren't like detail painted like it's in those pictures at all like that. So you just got these vacuum molded, toy pieces of a lot of soldiers, and there were some cannons and stuff like that in there. But
I mean, these have some cool ads in the back. We were showing advertisements last week, and this comic book has some, cool ads for kids and stuff. I just thought that was really pretty cool.
so yeah, Gwen says that Roy Campanella, Major League Baseball history, upon joining the Brooklyn Dodgers, was paralyzed in a 1958 car accident.
yeah, I was just reading.
He persevered and worked as a coach and a mentor, and he died in 1993.
There was, maybe I'm thinking Johnny Roseboro. That's who I'm thinking. We had a real bad rivalry with San Francisco, the Giants.
Still do.
Yeah, and Juan Marichal, the famous pitcher who would pitch with that big leg kick all the way in the air. He was known for that. He got pissed. Oh, he was batting, and Johnny Roseboro was the catcher, and he got pissed and he turned and he hit him with the bat.
Oh.
and the guy never played baseball again after that. And it was really like assault with a deadly weapon. Anyways, that's what I was remembering. But thanks to one of the viewers out there for clarifying. Yeah, it was a car accident. But yeah, that's all I got just for this week. I got some other stuff, but it's all scattered all over the place.
Seems like Erik fell asleep.
Erik's gone.
Erik.
I do have one more picture. You know, I posted pictures of me and the slave Leias, and right now I'm posting another one, the last one I took with a slave Leia, and it's going up on the Collector's Catacomb Facebook page. So if you want to really take a look at this, I'm not going to say much more about it. I'm not going to describe the detail or what the view is. I'm just going to post this picture. You can go over to Collector's Catacomb.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Is it Dan in the Princess Leia outfit, or?
I actually tried to find. There were guys dressed like Princess Leia, Slave
Really?
Leia. I tried to find one. I couldn't find one because I wanted a picture with one of those guys. But I found this one that was probably one of the best ones. Let's see here. Let's see what I put.
Now we know you're a happily married man, Dan, but there must have been a lot of hot women there.
Oh no, I didn't notice.
Very diplomatic.
A lot of cosplay going on there.
Well, unfortunately, I was under observation by the people that were with me. So, yeah, when my daughter was the one taking the pictures, I can't really say much. I had another friend that's a roommate here, and she's a super Star Wars fan, so she was there too. But anyhow, no, it was fun. I mean, it was probably the nicest. Every time I go to these, and I actually got tickets to go to Comic-Con in July. I had lucked out and got tickets, so and I'll be doing a whole thing on that. But it's, you know, when you think about, you take 100,000 people and cram them into a building, or in Comic-Con, it's over 150, 160,000 are going in there. You'd think it'd be crazy, people all pissed off, it's the nicest group of people that I've ever, because you know what, we're all there for the same reason. We're all there because we like the theme or whatever. And you know that, yeah, you're waiting in lines together, but you know what, you're meeting a lot. I met a ton of new people. I added a bunch of new Facebook friends and a lot of people that share similar likes, and I've met some people with really interesting stories. And so it was, I mean, I really loved it. It's not bad at all. There was nothing. You know, sometimes the way that they herded the people around was a little weird. I was like wondering why one day they'd open the front doors and the next day you'd go around some other entrance again. And I don't know, that's just the organization and how they do it. But anyhow, unfortunately, next year, the Star Wars Celebration 8 is going to be in London, England. So I'm not going to be able to make that one, I don't think. Unless I can do some kind of fundraiser to send me to England, maybe to go to. I could do that. You guys gonna help me go to England? I'll take
Get a GoFund going.
Yeah, I'll take videos for you. I'll make sure you. I tried to live stream last week on Thursday night, and all I had was my phone and my Wi-Fi or my data plan and my data. And I couldn't get it to happen. But I was sitting out in front of the building. If you didn't have a ticket, you just go to the front of the building, and everybody's hanging out, and they're all dressed up, they're all posing, they're all taking pictures, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and that's a show in itself. You get to sit there all day long, 4 days, and just watch the people that were dressed up, and you never would have had to go into the building, and still really had a good time sitting out there. And that's what I was doing. I wanted to do the show from there and just sit there and you guys watch what was going on while I was sitting there. So I got to figure that out. I got to figure out how to get a mobile by July, because I want to try to do that at Comic-Con. I need to get some kind of a mobile system set up so that I can do roving shows while I'm there live.
Now, what was it? You didn't have enough bandwidth?
Yeah, I think it was because I was connecting. You guys saw me show up, but my video wasn't streaming, and I couldn't hear you at all. I couldn't hear anything. I don't think you could hear me. So so I was like chatting in the chat, and I think Sean was telling me, no, I can't hear you yet. And I'm going, can you hear me? But see, I had a connection. It showed that I was connected, but it didn't stream anything. I wasn't streaming anything, which was kind of a hassle. But did we lose Erik?
Maybe. Hey, somebody mentioned your shirt, Erik.
Yeah.
That shirt.
There you go. That's a nice, it was a nice, I don't know if it was Target that sells these type of shirts. I have a similar one that has the Millennium Falcon too.
Oh yeah, I got that one. The red one?
Here you go. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Kind of crazy how they ended up taking those things down.
But the
Yeah.
They had a model set up at the convention that was, I don't think it was full size, because I think full size you'd have been like, the person would have been as what, high as one,
yeah.
it's a 1 foot, but it was probably about 1/10 scale.
Really?
It was still
Wow.
big, and it was sitting in the, they had it built. See, a lot of the things that were built, they had a lot of scenes, like they had the inside of the Millennium Falcon. They had the, I'm trying to think all the, they had, from the newer movies, when you know the race that Anakin.
The pod
Skywalker
racers.
Yeah, they had a pod racer with a scene in it was full scale pod racer. They had full scale land speeders. They had, and all this stuff was built by fans. This was not like movie prop sets. This was like fan built, and there were clubs. I think the Millennium Falcon was built by a club in Belgium, I think it was. They had it brought over and set up there. Everything was fan built, which is really interesting that Disney is actually allowing, kind of opening their arms to fans to help contribute to all of this. And this new movie that's coming out, I believe it's some of the R2D2s. It's the first time that they're allowing, or they have fan built R2D2 droids are going to be participating in the movie, and they're from this club. If you go watch my video, you'll see some of them in there. It's the Droid Builders Club. I think they're called Astro Mech or something like that. Astro Mech is the name of their club or their website. So this time is that they're allowing them. They're having fans built a lot of the droids for the movie, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame Lucas kind of, I think he pissed off a lot of people with the prequels, and they are what they are. But I think a lot of it was just more towards selling merchandise rather than, I'm not saying that Disney isn't, but I think they went the right route with the director that they chose.
Yeah.
For the the upcoming ones, and I like that you're going to see a movie every year.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do solo movies for individual characters in between each of the new trilogy that's coming out.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. You're not waiting around for 2 or 3 years for the next one to come out. You're going to have a film every year.
Yeah.
For at least the next 6 years.
And what they're doing too is, I saw an interview while I was there. So there's actually a Star Wars master database, and I can't remember what they call it. And it is all of the storylines from the comic books, the printed paperback books, any writer that's licensed to write, anything Star Wars. There's all these storylines in this database. And so the bad part about this is that with all these stories, the stories were, they may have stemmed from a root from the original storyline, but then they shot off to something here, shot off to something. So there's these new characters. So it was getting crazy. And so for them to start this new movie that they did, they took all those, basically they just killed them all.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're starting. Now they're taking pieces of some of them as they've collected them over the years, and now they're funneling all the stories into one storyline, almost similar, which is what Marvel's doing, right, with the Avengers and all the Thors and the Captain America. Those storylines are all funneling into one nice, sequel, and that's what they're doing now with all the Star Wars movies. They're getting all the characters, all the books, everything, and they're getting them all. The comic books are going to be in line with the movies. Books that are coming out are going to be in line, so that everything's the same storyline going out and stuff. So
yeah, no, it sounds like it's going to be well done. And the great thing is, they're not the new movies. They're not focusing on the CGI as much.
Right.
They're actually trying to go back to how the original trilogy was done, and use miniature models
right.
and things like that. So,
which is kind of cool because that's going to employ a lot of artists and stuff to have to do all that stuff, and build that. So it's really cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, we lost our host.
Yeah.
John, you got anything? You got any Star Wars stuff?
I don't, actually.
He sold it all.
Man. I had a ton of that stuff. Yeah.
But I'll share one more interesting item, and this was I found this at an antique shop. This was the Ewok Village.
Oh, that's neat.
But an interesting thing about this is, do you remember the movie Robin Hood? Or no, wait, it was Prince
you just
Robin Hood.
Have that behind you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here I'll share this one thing.
There was a movie with Kevin Costner called Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
And what they did was I remember I had this, and then one day I was or this was thrown away. I picked this up more recently, the Ewok Village. But I was at a store after that movie came out, and they actually reused that set when they did the toys for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman one. So they just kind of dressed it up a little bit, but it was the same exact thing. So it's just funny how they were just reusing those, those old sets for, however they could, Yeah, I don't have anything else I could at least share that
Dirt
I could
and
show.
Rust.
Yeah.
Dirt and Rust. You don't have anything behind you, huh? Just like,
that was it.
Dan, where did they shoot the original Star Wars movie? Where were the desert scenes? Was that in North Africa?
Yeah.
It's actually still there.
Yeah, most of it's in North Africa, but there are some. So after they did their Africa stuff, they had to do some fill shots, right? They had to do some things, and they, instead of going all the way back to Africa, they actually used the Mojave Desert. They used out in the Death Valley. They used some canyons and some desert scenes out there. There is a guy who I just saw. He just put out a video. His name's Jason. I want to get this right because I want to give him kudos. I am a fan of his YouTube videos, and he does a lot of these behind the scenes. And hold on a second. It's called his channel name is Live Fast Die Poor, all one word. You'll go to Live Fast Die Poor. He does some great videos, and he's got a video. He went out to all these locations and did a before and after picture. So he's got, here's R2-D2 and C-3PO walking down this, what looks like this, a road in this canyon, and he goes and stands in that exact spot and shows you what it looks like today. And it's really cool.
That would be cool.
Now, I read recently that the ISIS terrorism group had been taking over some of the northern Africa locations that they originally shot, and they were warning Star Wars tourists not to go to these locations now.
Oh, yeah.
You could be abducted and beheaded.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really get into all the prequel baloney. I'm pretty much 3 movies, and that's it. I'm done with it. I don't care what happens after that.
And 9-Volt was asking on the new trailer, is it the Millennium Falcon that's crashed into the sand?
No, that's an Imperial destroyer. What's funny about that is somebody actually put that up on Craigslist for sale. There's a Craigslist listing for somebody trying to sell an Imperial, the one that actually is in the trailer. That's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big giant one.
Dirt and Rust was mentioning a Lego Star Wars Millennium Falcon 10179 sold for $3,700.
Yeah, the Star Wars already. I mean, I don't know why that went for that much, but I know the the Lego sets, they can go for some money. What's it called? The Death Star. I looked at that, and that's like a $500-600 set.
Sometimes when they get crazy prices like that, $3,700, it's like, did they actually pay for it, or?
Yeah, that's true. I know there was like I don't know if there was like an original release of that, and that's why, you know, it was like a short run, and then they didn't make any more. I don't know. That seems pretty high. There must be a reason why, because it's numbered.
Yeah. And she went to bed.
I guess we should end the show then.
I can't do it.
Trying to get that voice right. That's hard to do.
You get that little bit of a roll in your throat or something,
Yeah,
like he
can
does.
you guys, anybody give me some help with any pointers on that one?
Oh, I know, not even close.
It's like, I mean, I got Yoda down pretty well. Luke, use the Force. Luke, use the Force. But this one's a little harder. The Wookiee.
Luke,
The
I am
Force
your
will.
father.
Yours is so much better than my dollar store one.
I am your father.
Sound like you're trying to trick a crap.
You kind of look like a burn victim.
What I'm gonna do is, I bought that thing. I bought that thing today. The synchronicity was perfect. I went to a thrift store and I found that. I'm like, oh, I gotta buy this.
There you go. Yeah. It looks like, you ever seen the movie Step Brothers? At the end, there's a scene where they both have Chewbacca masks. And the one brother's like, oh, he got the good Chewbacca mask. Hopefully somebody gets that.
And you know, I'm really, if you guys didn't know, I'm really into Bigfoot and Bigfoot videos. And there's a lot of hoaxsters out there. And there's one hoaxster that looked like he put on a Chewbacca mask. And so I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna say that I'm him. And I'm gonna put that out, and the Bigfooters are gonna love this because this guy's a hoaxster, and he got some kind of Wookiee mask and put some animatronics in it, and it's so obvious. So I'm gonna be multitasking on this baby.
I got this Vader helmet back in 1980. I've had it. It's a Don Post. It was actually made by. He was licensed to do.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I've had it. I actually bought it for a Halloween. I had a whole Darth Vader outfit, and I made the little box thing that hangs in front of me. And I went to a Halloween party or something at it once. I still have the cape that I bought for it too. The only problem with this thing is I wear glasses. I have to take my glasses off to put this on, and I can't see for crap when I'm walking around. I was tripping over everything and bumping walls, and and the eyes are green. So not only could I not see, but the eyes are green, and I'm like looking through these green round things on her. But it's really cool. I've had it forever. It's a little dinged up though, because I've been moved a million times. It doesn't have a year stamped in it, so I don't know. I know I bought it in the 80s. I'm not sure, probably around 82.
I know the Don Post, they can go for some money too. Not to talk about, value.
Yeah, no, I tried to do some research on it, but and I know the one's made by Don Post because he was the original licensee for these when they first started. So
we can talk about value because.
Well, here's the thing: we can talk forever because only Erik can shut the stream off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we can't leave.
It has a limit of 8 hours, though.
Okay, well, we're here for 8 hours. We can talk.
Well, luckily, I have the
Sean
cable.
would know that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, I would.
and we know Toads knows about the 8 hours. I think he went
couple times even.
What's the record? How did you go past 8 hours?
What's that?
Did you go past 8 hours, or was that it?
No, it was 8 hours. That's where Google cut you off. Yeah. At least on my channel, and I've heard it's 8 hours. So.
Is that one of the drunken podcasts?
No, actually,
Okay.
Both of them, my computer, I was having trouble with my computer, and both times I couldn't talk or you couldn't see me, and so I just left it on and everybody did their thing.
Ah.
Oh, while we're talking about collectibles, I don't know if you guys saw this today. I actually posted this in resellers. I was following this when it first came out. Give me a second. Maybe I have a picture. So I guess that the Steve Jobs estate or his family or somebody had pulled out some stuff that they wanted to sell that belonged to Steve Jobs, and one of them, this is really cool. Let me try to get this. So it's, I don't know if you can. Let me try to. So this is a Apple One, the first Apple that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak actually handmade, and
wow.
so they had this on auction on eBay, and it sold this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Oh,
Wow.
What's cool about the history of this is that Steve made it, right? He made it in 1976. It was sold through a little store, a computer store. I think it was in Santa Cruz. That was called the Byte Shop, and so the boards, and you could kind of mix and match. They made the boards, and you could buy the cases and the keyboards and all this other stuff. The whole monitor, and there was a cassette tape recorder. That's how you would save and load your programs. And but they made the boards, and then it was kind of like a kit bashing thing. You could take the kit and build the computer from the motherboard, but they made the boards, right? A guy, I can't remember his name now. He bought it. He had it till he died, and then Steve Jobs bought it through that guy's estate. So it was created by Steve Jobs. It became part of Steve Jobs' collection later in life, and then so it was in his garage or whatever, and so they sold it off today. They sold some other pieces and some schematics and documents and some really interesting, collectible items that was part of Steve Jobs' collection, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I was driving home, and I had this running, and when I left my work at 10 minutes before, it was at $175,000, and by the time it closed, it got to $236,000.
it's great.
So you were overbid?
Yeah, I bid when it was down at like 150. I think I got outbid a little bit. My wife was with me. I kept saying, "Come on, please, please, we can sell our house. We can sell our house. Buy it."
We'll have the first computer though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was pretty close. So now normally these probably wouldn't go for that much, but it's because it belonged. It has a lot of history because it actually belonged to Steve Jobs. I mean, he owned it. He was the last one to own it, which is.
Sure, whoever bought that's going to sell it for $350,000 next month.
I'll bet it went to a museum. I bet I bet a museum bought it, or some collector that's gonna put it in a museum. Because there's only about, I think in a description of this, there's some history about there's like just a handful of them that they know where they are, and they actually, when they made them, they did not serialize them in any way. But when they gave them over to the Byte Shop to sell, the Byte Shop took the felt pen and they actually started a serial numbering process on the back of all these boards. So that's how they can track back. This one was number 22. And they know about 5 or 6 owners of these that have one has number 13. And I think somebody has some higher numbers above that. There's a couple museums that own them already. They own one of them. But, man, I studied that motherboard really close because I want to go looking through some junk boxes somewhere and pull one of those out of there. Because, man, that'd be sweet.
Right. Well, awesome, guys. And I appreciate everybody picking up my slack for tonight. It has been a long day. Unless anybody else got some more stuff to do, we'll get this wrapped up. We got a Toadcast tomorrow night, and then the typical whole slew of all the other shows next week.
Yeah,
So make sure to check out the other folks. Reseller Wake Up. I think I seen a note that Paul's going to be back in action with that. So that'll be good, you know, to have him back on there. But yeah, other than that, I appreciate everybody's sharing their stuff tonight. Check out the Facebook group, Collectors Catacomb. Check out the Allied Militaria Forum.com. And till next week, we'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Ah.